I want to talk about AI, because we've been talking about it a lot here, which I want to get it clear what your thoughts are, because it's mostly Elon scared of robots. I mean, that kind of thing. Or how do you...
I'm scared of robots.
Or artificial intelligence. Can you clarify exactly what the issue you have now?
And you deserve the background. We've been talking to Jeff Bezos, Sundar Pichai. We talked to Mark Fields from Ford about it.
Might show up for
yeah, the Facebook folks. There certainly seems to be in the tech companies a big, tremendous new drive or interest to believing there will be all competing for intelligent assistance.
And it's good. It'll make your life better.
Make your life better.
Technology
Siri is going to suddenly get smart. Microsoft's one is going to get smart. Google is going to cream them all.
It's largely a happy version of this. Sometimes technology hurts you, but not as much as it helps you. That's really...
Yeah. So there's been a lot of conversation here about that.
Yeah, sure.
And you've staked out a slightly different position. So can you talk about that?
Well, I mean, I think my sort of full position would require quite a long explanation. I mean, I am concerned about certain directions that AI could take that would be not good for the future. I mean, I think it'd be fair to say that not all AI futures are benign, not all.
Okay.
And so if you have something, if we create some digital superintelligence that exceeds us in every way by a lot, it's very important that that be benign. And so actually with a few others, I created OpenAI, which is an AI. It's a nonprofit actually. There's no. I think the governance structure here is important. So we want to make sure that there was not some fiduciary duty to generate profit off of the AI technology that's developed. So we created this 501c3, but I think it's quite different from. I mean, a lot of sort of 501c3s are they don't have a high sense of urgency, and they're not they're not really sort of developing technology at a fast pace. But OpenAI is. So OpenAI has a very high sense of urgency, and I think that the people that have joined are really, really amazing. And the intent with OpenAI is to democratize AI power. There's a quote that I love from Lord Acton. He was the guy that came up with power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, which is that freedom consists of the distribution of power and despotism in its concentration. And so I think it's important, if we have this incredible power of AI, that it not be concentrated in the hands of a few and potentially lead to a world that we don't want.
And what world is that? What do you foresee that when you see it?
It's difficult. I mean, it's called the singularity because it's difficult to predict exactly what future that might be. Except I don't know a lot of people who love the idea of living under a despot. I don't think people generally choose to live in a democracy over a dictatorship.
And the despot would be the computer?
Or the people controlling the computer.
And do you worry specifically about any of these companies I mentioned, who've all seemed to now kind of be pivoting toward this as the battleground in the next 10 years?
I won't name a name, but there is only one.
There's only one you're worried about. And they're not preoccupied with making a car that will compete with you, I assume.
There's only one.
And tell me, this is an interesting...
It's not about competing. This is sort of like what would be the point of competing for, mutual destruction? It's like it's not about competing. It's really just about trying to increase the probability that the future will be good. That's all. So the goal of OpenAI is really just to take the set of actions that are most likely to improve the positive futures. Like, you can think of the future as a set of of probability streams that,
Yep.
that branch out and then converge, collapse down to a particular event, and then branch out again. And there's a certain set of probabilities associated with the future being positive and different flavors of that. And at OpenAI, we want to try to do whatever we can to guide, to increase the probability of the good futures happening. I think that's really what